So next part is autonomic and cardiovascular system, actually cardiac system. And we are using ECG and heart rate variability. But heart rate variability is not like we're using just one indicator, RMSSD, but many of them. And our expert system is making conclusions based on comprehensive analysis. So what is functional state of cardiac system and autonomic system in case of regulation? Why we need to assess autonomic nervous system? Because it's a part of nervous system, of course, and this system is responsible for regulation of homeostasis and system what adapting our organism to environment. So everything regarding the autonomic system is related to adaptation. If you can assess this part, you can derive very useful information about regulation. So, and we have many different parameters, variables, indexes, etc. But let me, before explain this part, brain, vessels, lungs, blood, adrenals, channels which affect, influence to heart rhythm, heart rate variability. Many. It's not simple like it looks like. 2,000 PhD theses were defended based on this method. And this method was applied from cardiovascular space physiology to many different fields in medical sciences, physiology, and sport sciences, etc. It looks like very simple, but it's not. Trust me, it's not. Because we're trying to assess regulatory function, not just, we're assessing heart rate. Of course not. Heart rate variability. It's different. And based on this method, we can evaluate how different levels of regulation, central circuit or central part and autonomic part, affect to heart rhythm. So many different channels, brain, lungs, blood, hormones, etc., affecting to heart rhythm. So our target is to understand current functional state of autonomic nervous system in case of regulation of cardiac system, and based on that to make conclusion about readiness, adaptability, trainability, etc. And we're using very complicated and comprehensive analysis for this, not just based on one number. There are many different methods. Let me just very quickly explain, like spectral analysis, time and frequency analysis, statistical analysis, geometrical analysis, integrated analysis, many of them, nonlinear analysis, and blah, 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 blah. Why? Because one number cannot explain everything. One number can provide small puzzle of information. If you would like to get holistic picture, you have to apply many different methods. And one of the important indicator or parameter from our system is activity of vagus regulatory mechanisms. So we have to create adaptations in the regulatory function which have to be presented by increasing of parasympathetic nervous system function and vagus specifically. It's a nerve. Vagus regulatory mechanism increasing. So, and look at this example. Same person, top level athlete, Olympic and world champion, August 2013, August, September, October. And same person 1 year later. His parameters, vagus regulatory mechanisms dropping down just month by month. And the completely opposite direction. So if we would like to increase this number, can you say which is good, which is not good, which is optimal, not optimal? Number one or number two is good? Number two, second one. And training approach was completely different. They used different approaches. And here they used our approach, which is based on Windows alternability and daily-based assessments, and they changed regulation. So this is our target during, for example, some mesocycle. 3 months or 1 month, doesn't matter. We have to see trend to increasing, but up to top of normal level. If you will move further, you have a risk to get parasympathetic dominance, which is not good. So optimal parameter, optimal zone is from 0.16 to 0.41 seconds. It's applied to everybody, doesn't matter who are you, what type of sport. But inside this corridor, there are many specific norms regarding to specific types of sports. So we have to see this type of trend during training. This type of, it have to be increased, not dramatically, but little by little you have to increase in the frame of corridor, this corridor. So hyperactivated, which means parasympathetic system, hyper, overactivated, hypoactivated. It have to be balanced, optimally working. Not hyper, not hypo, optimally. So sympathetic and parasympathetic have to work in balance, have to be balanced, not unbalanced. So activity of sympathetic nervous system also we are measuring. And look at this, same person, 3 months, couple years ago and 1 year ago. Sympathetic nervous system, we're calculating this in percentage. And parameter original name is amplitude of the mode. And if you will see picture like this, it means your month by month during training sympathetic activity increasing. And what about cost of adaptation? It's increasing as well. So therefore you have to prevent this. They must reduce, especially volume of training and additional training load. It's not good. It's not good at all. There is norm from 15 to 55%. He was still inside the norm, but trend was not good. You can build this picture only if you have daily-based information. Otherwise, how you can do that? So it's impossible. And this trend is good. They reduce inactivity of sympathetic nervous system in the frame of optimal area, and they inhibited activity of sympathetic nervous system, and it was good. And it's a combination of parasympathetic, sympathetic. Parasympathetic activity dropped down, sympathetic activity was increased. Is it good? No. Point here is any training process, doesn't matter. I'm not familiar with training process, what he did, but I exactly know physiological reactions are not good. And they increased cost of adaptation a lot. I don't know what they're doing, but just looking at this trends, it's possible to say, yes, we can do that. And we have tension index as well, next parameter. Stress tension index. There is 2 parts, as I said before, central part and autonomic part. And top-level athletes, especially endurance, but any athletes or normal people like we are, have to be regulated autonomically. Our heart must be regulated mostly autonomically, not contribution from highest level have to be minimized. If we have too much stress, like for example, I'm speaking now and I'm fatigued a little bit, tired, etc., and my sympathetic nervous system is activated, actually maybe overactivated too much. My tension index at the moment now is high. It means highest level of my brain contributing, influence a lot to regulation of my heart rhythm, because there is autonomic deficit of regulation. Autonomic nervous system cannot regulate properly this process. So for athletes, always good to see this trend. You have to reduce stress tension level in your cardiac system, And this indicator is not just very good, but it was validated in hundreds, actually thousands research, and was applied many times. It works very hard. Not very hard, sorry. It works very significant. So if you will see this trend, it means not just sympathetic overactivation, but centralization of heart rhythm regulation. Brain is participating a lot. And it's measured in relative units. There is a formula for this. So another method what we are using, it's also complicated name, aperiodic influence, just random influence, slow influences to heart rhythm regulation. It's calculated based on geometrical analysis of heart rhythm. You see this cloud, it's good cloud, it's like normal, normotonic cloud. If it moved to this direction, it means and become tight, it means sympathetic activation. If it's going to this direction here, it's parasympathetic. Simple interpretation. So as well, distribution of this cloud must be optimal in this green area and optimally distributed. If you will see, for example, some points here, some points here, some points here, even without numbers, you can make conclusion. It's heart rhythm distribution, which is not good at all, and you can identify why it was happening. So, and it's always good to reduce this in the frame of norm, and this is not good. This pattern was like optimal, and there are norms, of course, in the frame of this parameter. And aspirate waves, respiratory influence to heart rhythm regulation. So please look at this, same athlete 2013 and 2014. Positive trend and negative and unbalanced. So it's good to increase a little bit, but in the frame of optimal corridor. If you will increase it too much, it's not good. If it's too tight, aspirate waves influences very little, very stabilized, it's not good as well. So there are always optimal area and plus and minus. And this trend reflects not good, yes, it's not good result, automatization. And we have as well international parameters in our systems, standard deviation, normal to normal intervals, etc., and spectral analysis, which is quite good, but sometimes cannot be used at all. If your athlete, for example, provided a couple of extra systole, you can't use spectral analysis. Forget about this. So, and it's not comprehensive method, but it's very good if rhythmogram is good as well. Histogram. This is amplitude of mode, which is calculated based on mode, and this shape is good. It's like a normal shape, and you see here it's like it's balanced. Low frequency, high frequency. Reflects sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system. This is hormonal channel, VLAF. It's a metabolic hormonal channel, and it's significant. We have not just we. There are many evidence about this. So it's have to be inside optimal area, etc. And the rhythmogram, you can see it's normal rhythmogram with sinus arrhythmia. So this is HRV, but what our target is to create conclusions what our expert system is making based on many variables, not just one. RMSSD is good. It's quite often used parameters around the world, many systems using this. It's good, but it's limited, very limited. Sometimes cannot be applied at all. Sometimes only geometrical analysis can help understand HRV, and other statistical time domain, forget about this. Methods cannot be used at all. So sometimes only visual analysis can be applied.